Well, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission has announced August 9 as the date for the local government elections in the state. While the chairman of the commission, Adolphus Inebeli, made the announcement during a stakeholders meeting on Wednesday at the commission's office in Port Harcourt. Inebeli also revealed that electoral campaigns for the council polls will begin on July 7. Now, this announcement follows the Supreme Court's ruling that nullified the election of all 23 local government chairmen and councillors elected in last year's council polls.
We are here today to unveil the guidelines and timetable of activities for the 2025 local government elections. I humbly appeal to all politicians aspiring to contest for positions to do so in a civil and disciplined manner. You are expected to play by the rules. The guidelines are set for the good of all. They are not intended or skewed against any party or individual. We all have a collective responsibility to consolidate our nascent democratic experience. We expect all stakeholders to act with professionalism, good ethics, and civility before, during, and after the election.
Right, let's bring in Legbosi Yamaabana, who is the President General of the Ogoni Youth Federation and the Chairman of the Rivers State Ethnic Youth Leaders Coalition. Also with me is Arise analyst Dr. Sam Amadi. Thank you, both of you gentlemen, for joining us on News Night. Let me start with you, Legbosi. I mean, you are the President General Ogoni Youth Federation. I mean, one might be tempted to say that, okay, maybe things are beginning to move ahead with an election, local government election date that we're just hearing of now, August 9. But let's backtrack a bit. The 48-hour ultimatum given by the 27 reinstated lawmakers that the governor should represent the 2025 budget. Otherwise, first, let me get your thoughts on all of this drama that's played out.
Well, thank you very much. I want to say that the issues in Rivers State borders on just one man. And it is about time we tell ourselves the truth in this country. It is just like our former governor, Sir Dr. Peter Odili, said earlier. It's about a man trying to cage the entire state and use it as his personal estate.
Who is this man you refer to?
Of course, the man is the former governor of Rivers State. And this same man in question, when he heard
it looks like you choose not to name this man you're talking about. Am I right?
We do not need a soothsayer to know who we are talking about. I'm talking about. In fact, the current minister for FCT and the former governor of Rivers State, proud to this whole debacle, did said unambiguously that he may not win the battle to destabilize the governor of Rivers State from fulfilling his campaign promises to Rivers people. But he will make him suffer. It's on record. I believe your studio should also have that record and that tape. And so it's like the witch cried in the night and the child died in the morning. So we do not need a soothsayer to tell us who is behind all of this. And severally, the Amewule-led group has also made it very clear that the former governor, he is their leader. And it is very worrisome because it is the common man that suffers all of this. The governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Fubara, he's a governor. He has immunity. And so all of this, you know, does not
the 48
really...
hours ultimatum that they gave the governor has lapsed, and we're hearing from the governor that he never received any formal
I'm coming to that.
Yes, because of want of time.
As the leader of Rivers State.
Let me just hit the nail on the head. The IYC and other Ijaw groups are giving this some kind of ethnic coloration. And I'm wondering how dangerous that is.
It is not just the Ijaw Youth Council.
Right.
It is about the entirety of Rivers people. I am the chairman of River State Ethnic Youth Leaders. All the youth groups in River State are under me. And I go to them. I live in River State. My ears are on the ground. The governor of River State is indeed in charge of the states.
Right.
The common people of the state are behind the governor. And any attempt to, impeach the governor of River State, my sister, I can tell you for free, such attempts will be met with vehement resistance. It's not about the governor. And I want to commend the governor for his peaceful disposition. If the governor had behaved like the East-wide governors we had in River State, by now some of these people that are making all this noise couldn't have been able to even visit River State.
And I'm glad you say the governor himself is, has a peaceful disposition, and I'm wondering why the IYC would be going in the other direction. I'll come back to you. Dr. Sam Amadi, what do you say to these things? I mean, first off, are the lawmakers even empowered in any way or form to give the governor an ultimatum to represent a budget?
No, they are not. I mean, there's a confusion as to the constitutional framework. Look, the Supreme Court says, indirectly, basically, in the judgment, because they have not determined the central question of their legality, but indirectly says represent, okay? The legislature can make law, and Appropriation Act is a law. The legislature has no capacity, except to lawmaking, to bind executive action. So each of these branches, just like judiciary is independent, the executive power of the state is in the governor, just like as is in the president, section 5, 1 and 2. So what that means, therefore, is there's no legality to a resolution or mandating the executive, whether president or governor, to perform an executive function. You can make a law to describe how those functions can be performed. The Constitution says by either in line with the Constitution or law made by the National Assembly of States. So a law can circumscribe, but a resolution cannot mandate it. So this is how it says. The governor, they can say that the commissioners or any public officials cannot validly exercise those office because the Constitution says you appoint a commissioner, you present them. So they're appointed, but they need to be confirmed to operate. But look at it.
They have to be confirmed by the state.
But you can't compel the presentation.
Right.
So you can't refuse to confirm or confirm. And until you confirm, they can't operate. But you can't compel. Because it's a 100% executive discretion to appoint and present. Again, the governor can actually run the state without commissioners and public officials.
Well, we've seen it happen in...
It's constitutional.
Okay.
So, for example, the constitution says he can operate by commissioner or any other public official. So, for example, the governor can decide to elevate special advisors that do not require confirmation to exercise, don't call the commissioner, exercise all the functions. So, I think just to give the governor free consultancy, the governor's power extends to govern the state in the executive domain without reference to any of those appointments. But if anybody will act as a commissioner, the person has to get a confirmation. But you cannot by resolution. It's just like the National Assembly. If there's a vacancy in the federal executive, the National Assembly cannot issue a resolution mandating the president within 48 or 88 hours or whatever hours to present a nomination. But a nominee cannot enter that office if it's a confirmable office, except confirm. So this is the narrow part to work. Yes, they are in. The governor has to present them, but the governor is not bound to present them within the framework of time they give. There's no such power to make such resolutions. They're advisory, they cannot be binding on the governor.
Now, let me still stay with you before I bring back Legbosi. With all that's going on, and you hear that another date has been set for local government election in Rivers State, August 9. I mean, what does that say to you?
Two things. It's from the Supreme Court was very clear that those elected officials were elected unlawfully, in breach of the law, clear. And so what that means, therefore, is that they cannot exercise that office anymore. In fact, the election is null and void. So, but then those who were there before had expired. That was the premise in which the governor did that election. Okay. The argument of the other group is that they are
it's
back.
not to expire in October.
It has expired long.
Yeah.
But they are claiming that
it,
by virtue of the law, they have been extended. That is still under. Don't forget that the legality of this assembly is actually still being contested at the Court of Appeal. Yeah. But the Supreme Court seems to have ushered them in for the purpose of this Appropriation Act. So let's say maybe some argue from Supreme Court's very damning, judgment. It seems to be that they may likely, confirm them. But that has not happened. So at this point, therefore, I think the governor. So the next thing to do is to have an election, since every local government must be manned by an elected person. But in the interim, the electoral process go through. There's a window period in which you must announce, give notice, and that's
90 days.
90 days, and that 90 days from the day announced will come somewhere around November, the 2nd August or July. Okay, whatever. So they have given enough time. So, but this is the political crisis here now.
Right. Can it be resolved?
The legality does not address the political conflict. The political conflict that is a battle between the former governor and the new governor. Okay. And so everybody wants to line up. So if the governor keeps it open, he still controls that apparatus. But they're going to say, no, you have to bring us back, which I think is far-fetched. It's a stretch. The Supreme Court judgment does not in any way require that to happen.
Legbosi, let me bring you back. You seem to have this, disposition that is contrary to what you yourself have said the governor is, disposed to, which is peaceful, conduct so far. But you are threatening. You're saying there'll be violence in the Niger Delta. You're saying the oil installations will be, impacted and all of that. Does that in any way help matters? What are you doing as Ijaw Youth, as Ogoni Youth, and all the other interested parties in Rivers State to see that, peace actually reigns, that this issue is resolved, whether politically or legally, but in the way that, there will be peace at the end of the day?
Well, I haven't threatened that there will be violence.
Right.
So I shouldn't be misquoted.
Okay, great.
But there are groups not just in Rivers State, in Niger Delta.
Which you say are under you?
Of course. And these groups are very agitated. In fact, I want to remind you that the Niger Delta vis-a-vis Rivers State is the goose that lays the golden egg. It is the money is gotten from this place that feeds the other part of this country. And when a court comes up and says, withhold the money going to these same states, and you know that this state is the mainstay of the Nigerian economy. In fact, I am from Ogoni. Without my corridor, no single drop of crude oil can get to the Bonny terminal. And so, when you do that, you now want to subject the people to self-help. The implication is that the civil servants will not get paid at the end of the month. The common people will be denied of this their basic, income that comes to them, despite giving so much to this country. And one cannot fathom what has given Supreme Court that sort of idea. But I do not want to dabble into it because it is a court. I respect the courts.
Yeah, it's the highest court.
But it also means that we are in a third world country. I can tell you, it looks like the law that is the constitution of the Federal Republic. When it comes to the state of Rivers State, it seems to be operating something different. Because we've seen in this country, these same courts giving verdicts contrary to what they just did. And I am also aware that the issue of defection was not even before them. I am also aware that the court is not a Father Christmas. And so why dabble into it? Why trying to cause confusion? Is it because the governor, like I said, has demonstrated peace? No, they shouldn't take him for granted. In fact, the governor should be celebrated in this country.
Okay.
Because with the way the state is and the Niger Delta is, if the governor decides to look the other way around, we know the implication.
And okay, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much. Legbosi Yamaabana is the President General, Ogoni Youth Federation, and Chairman, Rivers Ethnic Youth Leaders. Dr. Sam Amadi, thank you very much for joining us, Arise News Analyst.
Thank you.